Hello everyone, today I'm looking at Arrays 101, still trying to become an array master. Here we have replace elements with the greatest element on the right side. So yesterday I attempted this problem and I hit a time limit. So that was not exactly optimal. Here we have my solution, which was a for loop. And an if statement, if else, and I didn't really think about this being a loop, but what the math.max is doing when you pass in an entire array, or a portion of an array, in this case, I had like a window type thing going on, starting with all the elements to the right of the current element, 17, I determined 18 to be the greatest. So 17 was replaced with 18. When 18 was the current element, we replaced it with 6, and so on and so forth, until we got to the final element, and we replaced it with -1. Now, I thought this was a great solution, but of course, we only passed 85 out of 90, and that's basically a failure. That would not work in an online assessment, because what happens with this? This is not desirable. And so someone told me, they gave me a hot tip, that you can loop through the list backwards and keep the greatest value seen variable. It means you don't have to call math.max with loops through the slice you have made. But we're still going to use math.max. So anyway, the problem statement. Given an array R, replace every element in that array with the greatest element among the elements to the right, and replace the last element with -1. After doing so, return the array. So here we have what they say is the efficient way to do this. So we start with the max seen variable. At first it's -1, which per the problem statement, the last element should be -1. So in our case, it is our first element that's going to be -1, because we're working backwards. So we start with this position, and we save the current. Current is going to be 1. And then we replace 1 with -1. And then max seen is either 1 or -1. So 1 versus -1. So max seen becomes 1. And we start over. We go to 6. Current element 6. Array I is going to be the max seen, which is 1. And the greater of the two is 6. We go to the next number. We save 4 in the current. We replace 4 with 6. And we determine the greater of the two is 6. We go to the next number, which is 5. We save the current number 5 in a variable. We replace it with the greatest number so far, which is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. And then we determine the greater of the two is 6. We go to the next element, 18. We save 18 in the current element, and then replace it with 6, which is the max we've seen so far. And then we determine which is the greater of the two, which is 18. Then we go to the final place, 17. We save it in the current. We replace it with 18, and then max seen becomes the greater of the two, which is 18. So let's type this out now. So we start by initializing the max seen variable to be -1. And then we loop through the array. So let I equal the last element. And then we work backwards until we get to the first index. And we keep it moving. And so we store the current variable before we override it. So we store the current variable and then replace the current variable with the max we've seen so far, and then change max seen to be the greater of the two. So it's either the current or it's max seen. And then after this has gone through everything, we can return R.